Hey guys, what's up? I'm back. Oh man, has it been a week? I'm gonna wait about maybe 5 minutes here. Oh no, there's only 3 people here on Rumble. What up, guys? Man, has it been a week? Sorry I wasn't here last week. It was my fucking birthday last Thursday, and I turned 33, by the way, y'all. So woo woo. But yeah, so it was my birthday, and kind of got carried away and everything and completely lost track of time. Uh wasn't even in my area at the time whenever it was, time to do the freaking live stream for the hangout, and I was so upset with myself. Like I almost ruined the rest of my birthday celebration because I was so mad. And I'm being absolutely serious about that because if there's anything I look forward to right now is doing things with Gnostic Revival, posting my videos and doing the live streams and things like that. That's why I made sure that after I forgot that Friday, I literally set a reminder on everything that I have so I will never forget again for like every an hour before, for every 10 minutes before the show, my phone is literally going off and so is my watch to remind me that, hey, you need to get to the fucking show, mofo. Another thing I'm working on is cussing so much because like it's not appropriate for a 33-year-old. No, no, I'm just trying to like, you know, clean up my language and stuff because I want everybody to be able to enjoy my weirdness. I hope y'all can hear me. I really do. Like I unplugged my microphone. That was another thing, y'all. It was crazy. So, after I logged out of work and everything, I started filming for Wednesday's episode of Gnostic Revival. And I got to a part where I was like doing an on-camera scene, and I went to put it in there so I could start editing it and everything. And next thing I know, it's like telling me, sorry, this can't be put into the file. And I was like, what? And so I clicked OK and everything. And I tried to do it again. And when I did it again, it gave me the same result. And I started reading the warning message it was giving me because I didn't read it the first time because, why would I? And it tells me you're running out of storage space. I was like, on your computer. And I was like, how is that possible? My computer is set to warn me like way before it becomes critical. And literally, as I'm saying that to myself, the freaking message flashes on the screen. It's like, hey, your storage is at a critical limit. And I was like, why is it warning me now when it's critical and it's like getting in the way of everything? I was just happy, so freaking happy that it happened after I logged out of work because that would have been a bitch. Let me tell you. And the boss is not happy if you're not doing your work. But I mean, as he should be, you know what I mean? Like, get to work, mofo. Stop being a lazy ass. But anyway, with that said, let's get on with our show. Things happen. That's the one thing is like way different about me nowadays. And it's really crazy because it literally happened at the beginning of 2025, which is, when I came into my 33rd year of life. And, here on June 12th last week. But as it hit 2020, or as it started getting closer to 2025, and as I was, deep in 2025, I started feeling different, y'all. I don't know how to explain it. But I just had this weird sense of serenity come upon me. And ever since then, it's just been so much easier to do things, you know? And let me tell you what, if I would have experienced that whole you're running out of storage thing, I would have completely panicked. I would have completely panicked. But with that said, without further ado, let's get on with it. So, like I said, I didn't do the show last week. If you're here, you're in new and everything, please welcome. Hi. Thank you for joining this live stream. It's truly a privilege to have people watch this and just hang out with me. This has nothing to do with the religious stuff, the spiritual stuff that I do. Well, not completely, at least. Sometimes I throw it in there. I gotta like throw in the Gnosticism, because I mean, well, hell, it's my worldview. But with that said, I try to keep it a little secular. You know what I'm saying? I try to keep it a little secular, but sometimes I can't help myself. But with that said, like this is just about politics and culture and just trying to well, and then at the end, I try to raise up the vibe and like share some good news. So, I'm gonna share pictures with y'all of my birthday. See, like June 12th, that was my birthday, and my husband took me to a nice place. It was really great. He took me to a park. It was a historical park, and I've been with that man for like 11 years, and he's finally starting to get me. He's finally starting to get me. Okay. And like he's starting to realize like I don't like to really go shopping or anything like that. I don't like malls. I don't know. I just don't like things like that. I don't want to say I don't like materialistic things, but I guess I don't like materialistic things in the way of the stereotypical idea of materialism, like having flashy clothes, having a bunch of jewelry, a bunch of bling bling. What else? What do people consider materialist beyond a Gnostic idea of materialism? Because that gets hard. That gets really hard. As a Gnostic, it's like, oh, materialism, reject it. And it's like, oh, well, that's everything. But, uh, not to give you the wrong idea about Gnosticism, because it's not that we reject materialism completely. That's definitely not the case. You can literally watch my videos and know that. But what I'm saying is like we have a certain spiritual discipline that we take on called asceticism. And with that way of life, we just don't really, get into those type of things, if you know what I mean. Being licentious, libertine, um, doing the material things, like really enjoying shopping and things of that nature. Being gluttonous, working on that myself. I don't know if you can tell. But oh yeah, by the way, I lost another. Let's see, from my birthday all the way to now. Altogether, I've lost 1.3 pounds since then, since the 2 Fridays ago. So yeah, that's good. I'm doing way better about that. So that's enough about my personal updates, really, and I don't really have anything else to say. At least nothing coming to mind. Let's get into. Well, let's first get into the basic things that I'm happy about. Actually, you know what? Let's not get into the happy stuff first. Let's just go all at it. What? I don't. Okay, whatever. I'll have to find another video for that or post. But anyway, so we're embroiled in. Well, I don't want to say the U.S. is in the Iran war yet, but Israel definitely is. And of course, when Israel starts picking a fight, the US has to join in. That tends to be the habit of things. And there was like a whole bombing campaign Israel went through. And that's just another fucking thing I'm sick about. Oh, man. By the way, like of course, like I'm sure everyone's paying attention and stuff like that, but the riots, the protests against ICE and stuff, never really went anywhere. There was that No King's Day that happened, and nothing really happened that day, to be quite honest with you. Not too much. At least nothing that was like newsworthy, I guess. But that kind of concerns me because one thing we have said in the MAGA movement, and oh yeah, by the way, there's a MAGA war going on, but when is there never a MAGA war going on? But with that said, we like have this whole thing in MAGA where we want to see like all of these illegal aliens gone. We want the base wants to see things done, but the MAGA war is between people who are anti-war right now and people who are pretty much pro-war. But I to be honest with you, I don't remember where I was going with that. My mind is kind of scattered right now because I'm like trying to catch up with all the news that had been going on. But let's just get back to Iran and the US and Israel. So Israel does a bombing campaign and everything, and then next thing you know, everything that is Iraq-esque just starts coming out. Israel's like there's WMDs, but this time like Israel is saying that Iran is trying to build up its nuclear stock or nuclear enriched materials, uranium, to build more nukes, or that they're almost close to building a nuke. And the whole rallying call right now is Iran must not have a nuke. And not that I really want Iran to have a nuke, okay? It's not really in my bucket list of things to happen to let like radical jihadis like Iran to have nuclear weapons and things of that nature. But at the same time, I just don't believe they're that really close to having a nuclear bomb. And so far, no one has really given us evidence to say they really are developing that bomb. Now, there was some hearings with Tulsi Gabbard, who, like a week ago, or a week before this all started up, she had said that yes, they're making a little bit more enriched uranium than they usually would, but that doesn't really do anything against the US, right? Because Trump had pulled us out of a nuclear deal or a nuclear treaty that we had with Iran. That which I think Obama had originally put Iran in. I'm not really sure who, to be quite honest with you. But Trump definitely took us out of it, and which I didn't see a problem with, really. But anyway, Gabbard was saying that they're producing a little bit more than what they usually would, but again, that has no problem with us because we have no treaty with them. But according to Tulsi Gabbard's intel, and other such things that she has in her disposal. She says that there is no bomb threat. There really is no threat of them really creating a nuclear bomb at this point. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. Even the people that do the inspections and things of that nature on Iran for these type of things, I mean, they didn't really come out and say anything until after the fact that Israel had bombed the shit out of Iran. And so, like I said, Israel is like, oh, they're so close. And like, of course, like Trump is joining in with it because he's like, totally, man, this guy is like so different than what he originally was to us, to MAGA. Like Trump said no more omnibus bills. Trump was like, we gotta make sure Congress is like doing what the people want and stuff like that. And now they're playing these like stupid political games, and I just really hate it all. Really, I'm like so exhausted with it. I think that's another reason why I just like it all just slipped my mind last Friday, because like I'm just like so freaking exhausted on politics. It's like it's just like it gets nowhere. It really gets nowhere. None of it. And like whenever politics does start making progress, it's always against us. And this isn't to say that I don't think we should be like doing any radical moves or acting like the left and like doing crazy shit. But I just I just can't like sit there and fixate on politics like that and like keep hoping that something good is going to come out of it, and like really nothing good comes out of it. With that said, there is like some stuff I am going to show that I am liking. Like right now, Trump is rounding up some illegals, but he's even backtracking on that stuff. And it's weird because whenever whenever the Iran and Israel stuff started happening, he started to backtrack on his backtrack. And he's already saying like, "Oh, we're going to get all the illegals out" and stuff like that. But before that, before he said that, which it's really hard to tell what the hell Trump really wants at this point. Really, I don't even know who the fuck he is, to be honest with you. Like, I know he's some guy that's like a architecture magnate um from New York, and that's pretty, and like used to be a Democrat but is not anymore. um Establish himself as a leader of the MAGA movement. That's another thing. MAGA isn't just Trump, y'all. And I'm so tired of people like insinuating something like that, but it's just not true. But anyway, that's another thing. I'm so glad all of this started after my birthday. And it was funny because I told my husband whenever, we started getting warning signs and stuff like this was going to happen. I told him, I was like, man, we're probably going to be in full on war with Iran after my birthday, or at least there's going to be a lot more bombings and things of that nature. And I was like so on point. I was so on point. I hate being on point about those things because like I wish we could just be America first and do the right things and do all the good things. But it's not happening. It's just not happening. It's really upsetting, to be honest. But with that said, since this is going on with Iran and stuff, uh Trump is now like activating all of these like surveillance powers and things like that. That was like, I'm pretty sure was established during the 9/11 incident or after the 9/11 incident. And now they're like looking for any possible sleeper cells linked to Hezbollah, which is a terrorist organization connected to the government of Iran. It's just, it's like the same shit, different day, bro. Like, oh my god, I'm so tired of these fucking wars. I really am. I'm like so tired of the Middle East. I really am. And it's always something with fucking Israel, bro. It's always something with Israel. And I'm about to like talk, like, this is where we start getting into some of the Gnostic stuff. Because like I'm about to go heavy with it. It's the thing is that I've always had a semi-negative view on Israel because as a Gnostic, I am furthest from the idea of what you could call a dispensationalist. A dispensationalist believes that God intervenes at specific times, and that time periods are broken up in dispensations where God had intervened. As a Gnostic Christian, we just don't believe that. We believe the presence of God is always with us and within us. So dispensationalism just doesn't make sense to our view on God and things of that nature. To be honest, I don't think dispensationalism is true Christianity, because to say that God only intervenes at specific times, I mean, where is the personal relationship with God that you develop? Where is anything like that? Really, dispensationalism just totally cuts it all out, and it's bullshit. And like I have proofs. I have proofs that I've been a anti-dispensationalist for a long time. And like one of the views of dispensationalism is that or anti-dispensationalism, I think I said that. Is that Israel, the land, the piece of land that we call Israel, is not Israel that's being spoken about in the Bible. Rather, um, the idea of Israel is more of a thing that is spiritual, right? So, like, there was a prophet, and I'm not thinking of his. Hold on. I think it was Jacob. I'm not sure. What is the name of the prophet who became Israel? Yeah, I was right. Jacob. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I had it right. So basically, what happens is that Jacob is met with an angel, but that angel is not an angel; it's God, right? And that angel literally wrestles with Jacob. And this could be this. This is probably meant to be a metaphorical story, but let's just say for all intents and purposes, this is very literal. And so this angel that is God wrestles. Well, it's Yahweh. Okay, wrestles with Jacob, and Jacob wins. Jacob endures the wrestling match with God. And so God blesses Jacob and changes his name, as God and Jesus intends to do throughout the Bible, and blesses him and says, "You are no longer Jacob, you are now Israel." And so from that idea, and from many other passages and stories, you get the idea the Bible is trying to convey that Israel, the one who struggles with God and endures, um it's not a physical thing, right? Because they named the person Israel. And so really, Israel, the term, the blessing, is a blessing. It's upon a people and things of that nature. And so, those who are in Christ, those who have been baptized, and died, and rose again through Christ, are now Israel. I believe that it says in a verse that, we are not actually circumcised, as the Hebrews are, to show that they are a part of, the clan of Abraham and Israel. But as Christians now, we are circumcised on our heart. Our heart is circumcised. And I think it's such a funny phrasing. But I get the idea. Circumcision was always a sign of, being part of Judaism. You know, it is still a Judaic ritual, and some people still do it the very barbaric way that I think is completely evil. But we won't talk about that. But besides that, the Bible references the circumcision and says, "You are circumcised on your heart, and you are now a part of the tribe of Judah. Judah. You are now Israeli. You are an Israelite because you are now a part of me. We are wedded to Christ." And so this is how we get the idea that dispensationalism just isn't true. Israel's not a landmass. And this is not me saying that Israel shouldn't have, there shouldn't be a Jewish state. That's definitely not what I'm saying. There should definitely be a Jewish state. I think it's good. In fact, I think the Hebrew people should end their diaspora. And I don't know if you've ever heard of this term diaspora, but basically it's an idea of saying that these people have spread out in the world. Okay. I really think most Jews should return back to Israel. People can think that it's racist and everything, but this goes back to my thinking of, how Europe should be for Europeans, so like Spain should be for, for the Spanish, so on and so forth. And I know we have like a melting pot here in America, but America does have its own culture that goes back to, the English settlers. So, it is what it is, really, and these cultures have always been broken up like that for a reason. I mean, look at the Roman Empire. Yeah. They started finally falling and being destroyed from within because they allowed so much immigration. They allowed so many different cultures to come in that people were not assimilating. So then you started having like emergencies on the inside of Rome while you had these uh what do they call them, barbarian forces, from the outside trying to get in. And so of course, so finally, with enough like weak men coming through and things of that nature, Rome just eventually collapsed because there was nothing to hold it up. It had no strength. Yeah, they were completely taken over. And so here is some proof that I've always been anti dispensationalist. This is back from, and like, of course, I've made tweets like this before, like way back in the day when I had my other account. And this is August 25th, 2024. And I quote Revelation 2:9, and I say, "I know your affliction and your poverty. Even though you are rich, I know the slander on the part of those who say that they are Jews and are not, but are a synagogue of Satan." And so when I said that, I was referencing the modern day Israel, the landmass, the Jews who are not really Jews, because the matter of fact is, since Jesus is the Hebrew Messiah, um, yeah, the anyone who doesn't accept Christ is not Jewish, is not a Hebrew, is not a true Hebrew. That's just how it works. That's it's written out in all the verses and things like that. It's very clear. I should probably make a video about that, to be honest. Um, but people start saying, "Well, that's anti-Semitic." My point isn't to be anti-Semitic. Oh, really? I kind of hate the word anti-Semitic because Semitic means like sand person. So, like, the word itself is kind of racist. But with that said, it doesn't just fit the category of a Jewish person. Of course, there's all kinds of people of different religious backgrounds that live in sanded areas. Um, there's a bunch of Christians in Israel, or what we call Israel. A bunch of Jews, of course, and then we got a bunch of Muslims as well. Um, so yeah, I hate the word anti-Semitic because of that. And so I've always had these, anti Judaic ideas, and it's not exactly a thing that I am anti Jew. Okay. That's definitely not the case. Actually, I think we should love Jewish people. I think that, we should love all people as long as they're good, kind, and wanting to be a part of our culture and live in our culture and be a part of it. But, and here's another anti dispensationalist tweet I had. But my point is that love all people and everything. Yeah, sure. But I don't agree with Judaism because they worship Yahweh. And Yahweh is the God of the Old Testament, is Yaldabaoth, is the archonic creator of the world, of the universe. Well, I shouldn't say the creator, but the reshaper of this universe, the master architect. Yeah, the builder, the master builder, as the Masons would say. Um, yeah, I just don't agree with that. I don't agree with being, worshiping archons and stuff like that, obviously, because I'm a Gnostic and I wouldn't be a Gnostic if I did. Um, does that create friction between me and Jewish people? God, I hope not, because I love Jewish people. Well, at least I love good Jewish people. Um, I hold no hostilities towards them in that way. And like I said, I'm glad they have a Jewish state, but they need to stop fucking bombing everybody. They need to stop, you know, creating human rights violations. This is completely terrible. What's going on? And so, now you have like, MAGA blowing up and stuff like that. And this is like a good caricature of what it's looking like right now, kind of. Except like, people are giving Tucker Carlson shit because they're saying he's creating one of those "have you been" arguments. I don't know if y'all seen it, but like a month or two ago, there was a guy who was talking to Joe Rogan, and then I don't know, he's talking about Gaza or something. I don't know, some country, and he was debating some guy on Joe Rogan, and he tells this guy, "Oh, you never been," and everybody took that, memed it, everything like that, and they're saying that Tucker Carlson here is doing the same thing, which I totally don't agree. I think he actually makes fair points. I think that if Ted Cruz is going to call for the bombing of a specific country, if Ted Cruz is going to say, "Hey, we need to go to war with these people and regime change," then I think he should have the hard facts of, you know, how many people live there and like what are their cultures that live within this certain nation and things of that nature. And see, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, that's not even an I gotcha question. Okay, actually, there was nothing to be I gotcha about. You know, he didn't even ask him a question at that point. Uh, it was Ted Cruz expressing the fact that we were bombing Israel. I mean, Iran, which you know, we've been told here now that it's only been Israel so far, and you know, there, you know, like I said, Trump keeps going back and forth of about, you know, what the hell he's trying to do or what he's going to do with Iran. And not to God, I mean, literally, it's not even from day to day that he changes his mind. He's now changing his mind multiple times in a day. Okay. And there's some retarded leftists that are going around and they're comparing this to when when Biden was in office, and Biden was completely out of his mind because he was secretly going through bone devouring cancer. And it's just it's actually, if the left had any sense, they wouldn't utilize that kind of argument with Trump, right? You don't want to say like, oh, he's really sick and oh, look, he's so old, he doesn't understand what he's doing and stuff like that. Like, no, you have to realize Trump realizes what he's doing. He when he's making all of these like uh switches about what he wants to do with Iran, if he's gonna bomb them, if he's gonna give them a 2 week period to wait. God, did I even mention the fact that he lied for 8 months in these supposed peace talks between Israel and Iran? That it was all basically a sham. It was basically a psyop from the United States and Israel to trick Iran and make them feel like they were there for peace talks. But really, what was going on is that Netanyahu and Trump and all of their intelligence agencies were getting ready for missile strikes on Iran. Totally lied, completely gave false impressions about what they were doing there, you know, and things of that nature. And then just bomb the shit out of them. And that's that's one of those things that like really set off alarm bells for me. If the Iranian government, if the Iranian people are really so close to having a nuclear bomb, like, first of all, how close have they been? You know, how long have they known this? And obviously, it's been a while. It's been a while because they've been talking for 8 months, all three of them, and trying to set up this peace deal. Um, and now they're saying, oh, they're weeks away. They're weeks away from getting this bomb and stuff like that. And Trump is like saying, "Oh, I'm going to give you 2 weeks." But you see what I'm saying? Like, if they were really so close to getting a nuke, to creating a nuke, then why haven't they taken care of it earlier? Like, do they already I mean, like, it's been 8 months now. Do they finally have the nuke you're talking about? I just don't get it. Like, it's well, I mean, it's because it's bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's all been bullshit from the beginning since pretty much since Trump got into office. It's become so fairly fucking obvious that this man is compromised. From Pam Bondi to Cash Patel, Dan Bongino, Trump switching his mind every day, multiple times a day about what's going to happen with Iran. I really think that Trump is saying this 2 week thing and like keeping everybody on their toes and stuff like that because he wants Iran distracted and things of that nature. I really do think that. Again, the last thing I heard before I saw this, and like 2 hours ago, I had to add it to this thing because I was like, what the hell is he talking about? Because the thing is that he said that he's going to give these people 2 weeks, right? Well, now, okay, now, like, look what's going on. Okay, it says here President Trump says Iran is weeks or months away from having a nuclear weapon. Okay, how long? How fucking long has it really been? Like, and then he says that Tulsi Gabbard is wrong, which this is someone that he hired to do the job, okay? Supposedly Pam Bondi is doing a great job. Supposedly Cash Patel and Dan Bongino are doing great jobs. And these people are lying to us up a fucking river about Jeffrey Epstein. And what's going on with that? And now someone like Tulsi Gabbard, who has, proven her bona fides like over and over and over again, not only like in podcast circuits like Cash Patel and Dan Bongino, but she has proven herself in government. Before before it was popular, Gabbard started dissenting against the Democrats. And this is when Hillary Clinton was still like, around and like had some kind of power in the DNC. So, they could have snuffed her out like that. And yet Gabbard stood up to the DNC and things like that. And now Trump is decrying her. It's Elon Musk all over again. Elon Musk was given a job to find out all the waste and things of that nature, and in government spending and whatnot. Like where can we trim off some of this stuff? And then next thing you know, like Trump and Elon are having a falling out. And it's not that like Trump had kicked him out of the White House or anything. Like his job was done, and like he had a certain date that he had to leave anyway because Doge was not a legitimate government agency or cabinet, whatever, or party cabinet, whatever. I'm not sure the language around it, but I mean, we knew that Elon was going to leave anyway. That's basically the point. But now you have him, Trump like really like shoving people to the side. What blew my mind when I first heard Trump was, and this is before he said flat out said like Tulsi Gabbard is wrong. Okay, um, the first thing I heard, and supposedly it was rumors, was that Trump was not uh, allowing or inviting Tulsi Gabbard into these like skiff meetings, whatever they are, about the Iran strikes and about Israel. And that blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, like Trump really, like, I, I want good, like, I want him to be the good man we want him to be, right? I want him to be legitimate. But it's not panning out that way, from Jeffrey Epstein to the omnibus bills to to this war crap, and he praised himself on no new wars. I even clipped it. I should have put it in here in the bookmarks, but I clipped Trump's speech whenever he was leaving the White House and things of that nature. And he was praising himself up and down about the Abraham Accord and the no new wars in the Middle East and things like that. And I was like, man, I miss this Trump. But even then I was questioning things so hard. I really was. By the time like 2019 and the beginning of 2020 started rolling around and the COVID stuff started happening, and like I had like 1,000 alarm bells going off, and I like thankfully I never took that fucking god awful vaccine. Um, but hey, don't take my word for it. Talk to your doctor before you make any decision. Um, I'm not a doctor, so please don't take my word for it. The vaccine could be good or bad. I don't know. But with that said, then I started realizing Trump was not the person we thought he was. But the fact of the matter was I going to pick Kamala Harris or was I going to pick Trump? You know, I don't think it's good enough to say we're not going to vote and then like let someone worse come into the office. I mean, look at how Biden ran the country. Look how bad inflation got. It was getting to the point to where everything in my savings was going away. Literally. I it was horrible. It was actually very horrifying. People started getting desperate. I was if I would have lost all my savings or anything, I would have been a desperate mindset. Because like at that point, it's like, man, I'm one bad paycheck away from not having an apartment anymore. Nowhere to do my work. And then not only that, we're paying on our car, and then that goes away, even though like we're literally like we're so close to paying it off. But you miss enough payments, man, they will take it away no matter what. It's bullshit, but that's the way loans work. That's the way this world works right now. I mean, what can I say? It's an archonic system. But anyway, let's look at this clip about what Trump is saying. I'm pretty sure y'all already read it here and everything, but let's listen. Somewhat pre-nuclear. Okay, sure. If you have the evidence, then fucking show us. You know, when 9/11 happened, I was, let me see. It was September 11th, of course, 2001. So I was 9 years old. I was 9 years old, and it was 3 months after, literally 3 months after my birthday. Holy shit. It was really literally like, I'm born June 12th, okay? And then 9/11 happens 3 months later. I didn't even think about that. But yeah. Wow, it was 3 months later and I turned 9. And then now this is happening on my 33rd birthday. Holy shit, y'all. Can y'all make that shit up? I well, whenever whenever you realize these type of things, it's like pretty like whoa. It's like it like lets you know you're right here in the right place at the right time. You know what I mean? And that's why I started taking up this endeavor of like trying to spread true Gnosticism and try to spread truth, period, as much as I can. Because like these type of weird things always happen to me. But anyway, I was 9 years old when 9/11 happened, and I can remember pretty fucking vividly the type of things that were said and stuff like that. And of course, at the time, I totally fucking believed it. But like, why wouldn't I? Because I'm a child, and most children just believe what they're told anyway. You know what I mean? Like that's what school is. Even though like God, who knows how much of that stuff is like verifiably false, really. You like I can point out some obvious things like in history class that I learned that is lie, like Washington chopped down a cherry tree, and stuff like that. Like that's just a moralistic story to like teach kids not to lie. But I believed it. Okay, here's another example. I was so ignorant around that age. Like I was taking a Spanish class, and there was my Spanish teacher said, "Do you know why we call Cinco de Mayo Cinco de Mayo?" And we're all like, "No, why?" And it's like, well, there was what was it? The Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria or whatever. I think that's all of the three of them. And they said, well, there was another boat called De Mayo, De Mayo. No. There was, man. Well, how did she tell it? No, there was another ship, and I forgot. She gave it a name, and anyway, long story short, that ship had mayo on it, and it got attacked supposedly, and it sunk. And everyone's screaming, "Oh no, Cinco de Mayo!" And I believe that shit, y'all. But like I said, I was an ignorant child, so you know what can you do? And so this is what's going on now. Trump is just like totally sold out. Uh, I mean, like I don't want to believe that. I really don't want to believe it. I really don't. But so far, that's what all the evidence points to. I get like he's trying to do the whole like round up all the illegals and everything, but like I said before earlier, he's backtracking, y'all. You know, he's not handling the judges right. What else? All of these crazy ass motherfuckers and the government who are going to like ICE agencies and going to public talks um of like people in the Trump administration coming out and like being disruptive and even pushing back on cops and things like that. These people should be like punished, to the height of the law. And I say that with full knowledge of what I'm saying, y'all, because the fact of the matter is that, yeah, sure, you're allowed to protest in this country and everything like that, but you're not allowed to, as a sitting congressman and stuff like that, to be completely subversive, to like say the things these people are saying to their constituents and causing the kind of chaos they're causing. It's completely ridiculous. So it's not a thing that I like anything from the left, and it's not anything that I like. And really, I just don't like the right either. I never, like after I was completely disillusioned by Obama, I became a libertarian, okay? And then, Trump came out and started saying the things he did, and I was like, he seems like he's really serious. And, like I said, the first go around, I had the sense he did until about 1920, until 2019 and 2020. And so, as I said before, there's like this war with everything MAGA right now. You have Ben Shapiro coming out and attacking people. You have, God, who was it? Laura Loomer is attacking Candace Owens. And I was completely shocked to find out that Jack Posobiec was on our side, was on the No New War side. I was completely shocked. I had to tell you. And not that I'm trying to talk shit about Jack or anything like that. It's really not that I hate him any personal way. I mean, how could I? I don't even know who the heck he is. Like I never met him. And a day in my life, I've never spoken to him personally. Shit, I don't even think he's ever replied to one of my tweets. I think he liked one of my posts one time, but I think it's because he I think he wanted me to buy one of his subscriptions, and I did it for a while just to be nice and everything. But I was really shocked because I had the sense that Jack was a sycophant. Like a lot, like half of MAGA is. That's the thing. Half of MAGA has always been sycophantic. Has always been that way. Trump can do no wrong. They huff his farts and and they love it. They're so giddy about it. I mean, like, oh god damn. I don't know if y'all know who Sean Farash is. The guy who basically imitates Trump, that does the whole voice and everything. He is vehemently pro Trump. I don't even like to call him MAGA, right? He is pro Trump as it comes. That motherfucker will not say a bad word about him. And he defends him so vehemently. It's crazy. Like, I swear to God, I really feel like these people are paid by Trump some way, somehow. Either they're paid by Trump or just the Republican Party, in general. Or by some kind of NGO. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know how that works. I'm a religious dude. I'm a fucking priest, y'all. I don't I know it sounds weird for me to say fucking priest, but I'm being legitimate, okay? If Catholics can smoke, I can fucking cuss, okay? But anyway, I'm just like, a God-loving dude, and like I don't really know much about any of this stuff. I like try to collect as much information as I can. I try to watch the right sources, and I just have the memory that I have from things that I've gone through, with this government already. And all I can say is that I don't trust Trump anymore at this point. I just don't. I can't. Everything within me, all my instincts, even angels are coming to me and like my fucking ancestors, and they're telling me like, bro, This dude is not good news. And but also in that same sense, I feel like it's not Trump himself. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like there's something going on. There's some kind of, beyond the archonic forces. And maybe it's the people that are working with the archons, that have some kind of influence over these people that we make our presidents and shit. And they fucking, they get them to change their mind some way, somehow. And like, when the whole thing was going on with Elon and Trump, and Elon said that Trump is in the files and that's why he won't release them, I'm actually very inclined to. At first, I didn't really believe it. I thought, like, God, I'm sorry, y'all. I really thought that Elon was just saying that to try to get one over on Trump. Okay. But before Elon left, he had a freaking black right eye. His eye was blackened. Someone had punched him. Someone got to him. And, of course, he was acting excited when he left and he got the key to the White House, whatever. Um, yeah, but then right after that was the whole war between Trump and Elon. And then Elon said what he said about the Epstein files. And the fact that Elon and Trump had, squashed their rivalry kind of makes me feel like Trump wants this information to come out that he never meant to be documented by Epstein. And so, like, he can't really come out and say that he's in the Epstein files himself because, his whole family will die if he does it. Well, allegedly. This is like, some stuff that people are saying and conspiracy theories and things of that nature. So I'll say allegedly, Trump's family could be harmed and things of that nature. If he speaks too much about what's going on and why he is so compromised and things of that nature. I'm kind of inclined to believe that too. And, it wouldn't surprise me if Trump wants this information out so he can actually, make America great again. But maybe I'm just like being too hopeful. Maybe like, my nature is just too white pilled and hopeful. With that said, like I said, I like the fact that Trump is rounding up the illegals. I like the fact. Oh, hold on. Here is the Sean Farage guy I was talking about, and he's like talking so much shit about people, like Owen Schroyer and stuff. Let's. I want you to hear this. It's fucking hilarious because, like, like I said, the Sean Farage guy really is just a guy who imitates Trump, and that's really all he got. And like Owen Schroyer just really encapsulated that so well. That's just fucking hilarious. Well, of course, I don't know if y'all know, but Owen Schroyer is a part of Infowars. So he's really great. You should look him up. And of course, I think this is like the whole point of it all. Before we move on to like the really, trying to bring it back to a good vibe type of thing. I think this is the point of it all. The liberal world order is collapsing, and so they're trying to keep it alive. I think that maybe Trump is supposed to make it look like he is the main reason why it's being destroyed. But I think they knew it was coming. I think it's been coming since Ron Paul came out, and the movement that he created. I mean, like shit. Most of us in MAGA love Ron Paul. I wouldn't be surprised if like a lot of the Gen X and a lot of the boomers who are, well, not a lot of the boomers, but some of the boomers that are on our side, at least on the No More Forever Wars side of MAGA, we're a part of the Ron Paul movement. And, like, I really feel like this is exactly what's going on. And, of course, Tim Pool always hits it over hits the nail on the head. He's really great at that. Please watch his show if you get a chance. Because I don't want to say he's right all the time, but he's usually right on the money. And if he's not right on the money, he gives you really something to think about. And yeah, he's basically the next Alex Jones in a way. In a way, not full blown conspiracy. Oh, like here, enjoy this, y'all. What the hell is this? Oh yeah, Tim. Tim was making. Okay, that's another thing about Tim. Tim is very sarcastic, and he loves to utilize sarcasm here on the internet to highlight the fact how fucking dumb most people are, and they really are. I mean, like, shit. As Gnostics, we always classify people into 3 different groups: Hylic, psychic, and pneumatic. And usually, this spiritual acuity is connected to your intelligence as well, especially from a classical Greek point of view. Well, anyway, Trump was being very. I mean, did I say Trump? It's because I see him right here. Tim was being sarcastic, and he says, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what your country can do for Israel." Which is, the whole play on the JFK speech where he was like, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." And I thought that was hilarious, and I was like, "That's exactly how Trump is acting." So, I put this gif with it, because I understand the sarcasm, but not everybody does, obviously. And like this dude just started talking mad shit, and so I had to save it. I had to save it because it's like I like it's like why talk shit about people who are right? That's my point. If you're going to talk shit about people, if you're going to confront people, do it to be truthful. Do it to rectify the truth. Don't just like engage with people and be an asshole for the sake of it. That's mean. That's like, I mean, that's that's the actual definition of mean. It's not like truth is not mean. Telling someone the truth and being abrasive and your conveyance of the truth, that's not mean. And like calling people stupid for no reason, um being spiteful for the fact that you just don't like someone or their politics, that's just evil and mean. And that's like the left all over. And so when he said this, I was like, I have to see this. I mean, I have to fucking talk about this because like they're so God, like, it's funny because like people say, "Oh, Tim is ignorant." I mean, not ignorant, sorry. Tim is arrogant and he, he thinks he's just so right about everything. I mean, good God, the man has been right multiple times. And a lot of times Tim is not even making a clear case, a clear claim. He's never like saying, "Oh, I think this is going to happen." But usually he analyzes what he sees. He says this is a possibility and this is a possibility and maybe this could happen and stuff like that. And like actually as time has gone on, he's been more out to say what he actually thinks is going to happen. And more often now he says, oh, I think XYZ is like the possibility of what happens next. And usually he's right about that. And yet people are just so spitefully ignorant and arrogant. They're, it's funny because obviously the people that are threatened by Tim Pool, from what I can tell, are complete narcissists. They are consumed by their narcissism. And I don't think they can really help it. I really don't think they can help it. Like, there's so much research out there talking about how some people are just born narcissists. This like, I mean, you have to understand narcissism, especially like overt narcissism and psychotic narcissism, like where you are like on the verge of becoming a fucking murderer. Like of course these things are mental illnesses, and lo and behold, of course, you see it more on the left and things of that nature, and so you get people like this guy like Bogus Future. But I don't want to give him too much time now. Like, it's just no point. Oh, here is, man, I could just keep going and going really about what I'm seeing is wrong. Okay, you know what? Actually, this is real. So, like, I was talking about the illegal immigration thing, right? And I'm talking about how, I'm liking what's going on with that. Well, look at this, okay? And I'm not going to even say anything about it yet. I just want you to watch it. And then I'm going to give you my analysis. Okay. Now, did y'all fucking see that? And you might be wondering, like, why am I shocked by this? Okay. What we just saw here, legitimately, is like directly from the government. Okay. It is a piece of propaganda made by the Trump government that is in sympathy for these illegal aliens. Like, why are they trying to make us sympathetic about these illegal aliens? And why am I saying this is a propaganda piece? Well, let me give you more information and then I'll break it down. First of all, Tim Pool hires this man right here, Elad Eliyahu, and he's a correspondent for Tim, and he actually does questions at the White House in the news gaggle and stuff like that, in the press room during press briefings. And so Tim had this, I believe he played this video on his show, and then Elad has said one of these gentlemen here had gotten into contact with him or something like that. but they told him that he was a fan of the show. Okay, that's all really. That's all the information I have as to the connection to Tim Pool and any of these people, and the Tim Cast IRL. Not that Tim knows any of these people, and these people don't know Tim. It's just supposedly one of these guys watched Tim Pool's show. That's all. That's it. Okay. Now, Tim does an analysis on this, right? And yeah, and it's just fairly obvious what's happening. Okay, so they have this guy, and he is being walked out, right? Okay, they're now what's happened is that he was there for an immigration hearing, but they don't care anymore. They want all of the illegals out. So like that's what they're doing. They're getting these illegal aliens out, and so they're getting them anywhere they can, where it's at Home Depot, the immigration office, whatever. Okay. And this is the most particular part how you know it's propaganda. You have all these people here. This is okay. First of all, she's an illegal immigrant too. Okay. And from the information that Tim received, through Eliyahu, this woman right here is as well an illegal immigrant. But they didn't take her. Why? And then you have her doing this, right? Whenever you have these guys here who are a part of ICE, like they could have just arrested her too and taken her in. And like, yeah, you can say, "Oh, boo hoo, she's crying." I really don't care. I don't care. She broke the law. All these people have broken the law. And they obviously don't care about America, because if they cared about America, they wouldn't break the law. And I can say that for a fact because I have a husband who is a legal alien. He's not even an alien. He is an American citizen now. He is completely legal, went through the complete process with his own money, his own ingenuity, everything like that. And he didn't break any laws becoming a citizen. These people, they cross the border, and like it drives me crazy too that these people would do that. Like do the things they do to break the law to become an illegal alien here in this country, because they spend thousands and thousands of dollars. Like, guys, you wouldn't believe it. And it's like, if you have that much money, just go through the fucking process, man. If you have thousands of dollars, just go through the fucking process. Because, and like, I know for a fact it's $1,000, because he's like the people who work for Border Patrol and have arrested cartels and things of that nature. They've received information from them, so they could be released and like didn't have to get jail time. And they know that some of these people are sometimes spending up to $100,000, but somewhere near 10,000 or something like that. It's not even that expensive. It's like maybe $2,000 to become a citizen, and like the whole process of it, you pay him like maybe $2,000 altogether. Uh, I just don't understand that. Like, why don't you save yourself like at least $8,000 and fucking do that shit legally? There's no there's no rhyme or reason why they do it like this, unless they and their family members, or maybe their family members and not necessarily them, have committed crimes against their own country that they're trying to like get away from, and so they enter into this country illegally so they don't have to go to jail in their country. Like it's horrible. Like, if you did a crime, do the freaking time, man. Like, if you like, that's how they always end up finding, like, why a lot of these people that they find is like MS-13 or Trinidad Agua or whatever, or Aruga, whatever the hell you pronounce it. But yeah. So anyway, let's try to end this on a happy note, okay? Like let's really do that because like yeah, it's just been too spicy lately. Well, for my birthday, my husband took me to a really nice park, and it was a historical park, like I said from the beginning. And I love history and I love nature. So him doing this was like incredible. It was really like this is actually the first time I ever did something like this for my birthday. And you could probably think I'm silly. It's like, what? Oh, you're just taking a little hike and like seeing some really old buildings. Like, yeah, that's what gets me excited. And the fact that he took the time to do that and figure out like, you know, how much it costs and to get me there and everything like that, like was just incredibly special to me because like I said, no one has ever done anything like that for me, not even my own parents. Uh it's just so amazing. And so here basically this right what we're seeing here is part of the trail to get to the old town of what was the name of that town? I don't know. I think they literally just called it the lower village or a lower city. And so this little trail took us there. We didn't have to walk it, to be honest with you. I just really wanted to because I just love to walk. I really do. I love to walk. I love to be in nature. That's part of the reason why I was drawn here to West Virginia was to be around more nature and less city. I know I could have gotten that in Texas, you know, but part of it too was the whole fact that I was dealing with my PTSD, which doesn't really bother me nowadays, which is wild. Which I guess I made the right call to come to West Virginia. But yeah, I'm definitely not having all the wild symptoms I used to have, which is like really crazy to me, to be honest. That's why I'm able to make all these videos and do the live streams and everything like that. I used to not be able to focus like that. But anyway, I got to see all this cool stuff. Right here is a pulp factory. And I don't know if you know what a pulp factory is, but basically it's a place where they process like wood chips and things like that to make paper. And this is actually a building that was, I believe it was post Civil War. This is not a part of the Civil War. Yeah, see, in 1887. So this is like 2 years after the Civil War that they put together this pulp factory. And this is a part of it, this little building. And I swear to God, y'all, um, anyone who knows anything about the nature of psychic ability and like feeling spirits and stuff like that, I could feel them. I really could. It was actually, and it was really interesting because in this area, and then when we started moving further forward, I started feeling it more and more, especially as we got closer to the train tracks. And I was like, oh, there is like a lot of tense energy around these train tracks. And like when I started reading about it, I was like, oh, that's why. So like before this is here, somewhere across these woods is where the train tracks are, something like that. And this is where a lot of the supplies would be driven into the Confederacy. Well, between the Confederacy and the Union. And they were doing trading, while they were having their Civil War. And I could really feel that energy pulsating in that place. Here is and this is like a little island. by the way. Part of it was, at least it's an island in the fact of like not in the ocean, but it's like literally surrounded by um like a massive lake or something like that. So, yeah, like Lake Shenandoah, duh, Brad. Um, so yeah, it's this is part of Lake Shenandoah, and this bridge takes you across into this area that's considered an island because it's like a patch of land that's cut off from the rest of the land because of the Shenandoah River. And what was so cool, and this is in Harper's Ferry, by the way, y'all. What was really cool about it was the fact that the fact of like in this area, where this historical park was, there was the Shenandoah River, and you could see the Appalachian Mountains like just perfectly. And you could, and like suppose, like from what we were told, it was uh the Shenandoah River at that point connected Maryland, Virginia, and West Virginia. So we were literally like able to see three different states, the Shenandoah River and the Appalachian Mountains all together, and it was just like so amazing. I thought that was so incredible. And so here's more of this bridge, and here's part of the creek, or I forgot what they called it, the spillway, I think, maybe. Yeah, that was part of the Shenandoah River. And, and think about it, this is like over like 200 years old, man. That's like so incredible. Sorry, y'all. I'm doing this kind of long because I feel like I gotta make up for what me missing last time. Yeah, there we go. It's called the Shenandoah Canal, and so you have the Shenandoah River, and then that canal connects up here somewhere. And here's Washington D.C. in comparison to the map. I just find it so incredible and cool. Like, how rich is our country with historical wealth? You know, like people say we don't have a culture. People say we don't have a history. It's all bullshit. They want to destroy our culture. And they want to destroy our history. They want to make us forget. So we repeat these things, and then they become the winners of these struggles and take up power. And then here's part of the railroad. Literally, this is okay. This is why I took a picture right here, because I was getting the impression someone is standing right here. And so I took a picture. I took a picture of this area just in case I could catch something. And I haven't caught anything yet. I haven't even really reviewed all of my pictures that I took that day. But I'm hoping to catch something because I sense something here. And you can call me crazy, whatever, I don't care. But the spirits were active. They are active in this area. I think that's it for my birthday. Nope, more. um Here is I found this I found this rock wall incredible because I believe, like, yeah, this is considered part of the Appalachian Mountains. Well, yeah, it is, because like literally West Virginia is like at the peak, I believe, of the Appalachian Mountains. At least the area that I'm in is part of the peak. And then this is like coming into the. I was trying not to take pictures of people because like I didn't want to disturb them, but I was like, it's a historic park, so if they don't want their picture taken, they can leave. But I just found that incredible. Like there's an old church here, and you have the Appalachian Mountains, and you got some over here, some of the storefronts and what I think used to be houses as well. Really, more specifically, up here, you could tell they were definitely houses, or used to be houses. And then you have the storefronts here. You can see like some of the original signs and things that like say general goods and things of that nature. And I like I said, I just enjoyed myself so much. Here's a better picture of the entrance area of the lower city. And there's actually a lot more to see. You know, you come past here, and then there's an area right here where there's like a I don't want to say a general. I forgot how they expressed what he was, but he wasn't a general, but he was like a master sergeant of arms or something like that. But his house was closed, so that sucked. But yeah, it was closed for renovation, so we couldn't see anything like that. But we went in here into one of these shops, and I actually got a couple of things. I don't know why I didn't get it ready for the live stream. I should have, because I did get some goodies because it was my birthday. Um, and of course, like, this whole time I'm like, trying to give a vibe of like, the history that I learned, growing up about the Civil War to my husband, because he's Ecuadorian, and even though he like learned a lot of history for just to naturalize himself and to feel like a part of the culture and stuff like that. Which he really did do a good job about that. I'm really proud of him. Can't say enough how proud I am of him for something like that. But as I was going through the history and everything, he was just completely amazed, and I was amazed because like I can't believe I was seeing some of the things that I had only seen in history books. And it's just like I feel so privileged to be here in West Virginia. Not that Texas didn't have a lot of history, but you have to understand like West Virginia, well, Virginia, which used to be Virginia and West Virginia, um, specifically Martinsburg, is one of the oldest cities in the United States. And it's really funny because you really wouldn't know it unless you see the signs and things like that. Um, how old, Martinsburg really is, because it's just not really developed here. There's not much development in the city. And I love it, to be honest with you. Like there's a lot of old historical buildings that people still have shops in. People are living in some of the most like amazing colonial homes I've ever seen in my life. And man, it just excites me because like, Texas is not as old as Virginia, West Virginia, and Martinsburg and things like that. It just isn't. Um, in fact, I think like Texas really started getting settlers in like the 1800s, like closer to the Civil War. So like the United States had been a country for at least 100 years or more before Texas really got founded. So to see these older parts of the United States is just like absolutely a privilege, and I don't regret moving here, to be honest. Like there were some things that I came out and said, like, oh, okay, like if you're looking for Mexican food here, you are in the wrong fucking place. Okay, you are in the wrong fucking place if you're looking for Mexican food. Even if you go to a goddamn Mexican restaurant, man, have I been fucking disappointed. You know, the whole idea, like, I don't know if you ever been to a Mexican restaurant. Well, I'm sure most of you have. But you know how like they give you chips and salsa? Okay. Um if I'm not mistaken, okay, and this is what I've been told, so it could be a wise tale or something like that. But the tradition of Mexican restaurants, giving you chips and salsa, was started in Texas, and it was started so that people can get a taste of kind of what they were getting, you know, because of course, people had never really had Mexican food at the time, and whenever Mexicans did come here, and they were trying to cook more like Americans would to get customers in, but when they finally started doing the whole um why is this blinking? I don't know if y'all can see me. But anyway, whenever Mexicans started finally doing the whole, cooking Mexicana Authentica, uh, one of the things they did was bring out chips and salsa to, give people a taste of what they were going to get. Okay. So me and my husband one day, we go into this restaurant called something Tapatia. I've totally forgotten the name of the restaurant because I just I never want to go there again. So it's gonna be stuck in my memory. So I know it when I see it. But anyway, we go into that restaurant and first of all, there's all kinds of crazy decoration and everything. But I didn't really knock them for that because I get it, it's a themed restaurant, whatever. But then they bring out the chips and salsa, and I start eating the salsa, and it tastes like fucking marinara from the Midwest. they're literally, it tasted like marinara with a little bit of jalapeno in it. And I was like, oh my God, why are they putting fucking oregano in their salsa? Because, I mean, I don't know where y'all are from and where y'all are watching this right now, but Mexican food generally doesn't have oregano in it. Now there's some recipes. There's some recipes with oregano in it, like when you're making enchiladas and, and shit like that. Sometimes especially when you're making the beef enchiladas, it's gonna call for oregano and things like that. But I have never ever in my entire life as a Texan have I ever had salsa with fucking oregano in it. And it blew my mind in all the wrong ways, man. I had at that moment I had such culture shock. I was upset, y'all. I was upset. You don't put oregano. If you're making salsa, you put cilantro. Okay? And I think I get it. I hear there's a lot of people that complain about cilantro tasting like soap and things of that nature. I never had that problem. I actually kind of enjoy the taste of cilantro. Of course, it's bitter and stuff. It has a bitter taste to it, but like nothing like soap or anything like that to me. And of course, if you're combining it with the right things, it clicks. It's like listening to jazz. You know what I mean? Like, if you were to throw in some of those chords and rock music, it wouldn't make any sense. But then you start playing a ninth and 11 and a seventh chord and, inverted, thirds and things like that. It's like, oh, okay, that makes sense because this is fucking jazz. And I can still hear the melody and the rhythm is nice, it's all working together, it's jazz, baby. It's jazz. Well, that salsa was not fucking jazzing. Oh my God. So with that said, I'm going to end the cast now on the live stream. Don't come to West Virginia for fucking Mexican food. The Italian food is badass here. The Chinese food sucks here too. Um, you can't find a good burger to save your fucking life. But I'm kind of spoiled on that because Texas is the home of the burger. I don't care what you say, Texas burgers are the best. But yeah, guys, I love y'all so much, and I'm sorry that I missed last week. My fault and my apologies. I can't believe I let it get that and let myself fucking forget like that. But here I am. I went a little bit longer. Look, almost 2 hours, guys. Almost 2 hours just for y'all. Because I love y'all. Seriously. Well, te amo muchísimo. Con todo mi corazón. Goodbye.